In this video, I want to share with you what worked and what didn't work when it came to homeschooling my daughter with special needs. I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, this video is gonna have so much good information. If you are homeschooling a child with special needs, whether you're starting or in the middle of it, whatever. We're going to talk about hacks, we're going to talk about curriculum, we're going to talk about tips, we're going to talk about the core subjects, we're going to talk about development, we're going to talk about fine motor skills. It's just going to be jam-packed with a bunch of stuff. It should just be like how to homeschool, practical tips, how to homeschool your child with a learning disability or special needs. Now, my daughter is 8 years old and she is diagnosed with Down syndrome, but as many of you guys know, when it comes to some of these teaching styles and methods, they do kind of cross over. So some of these are going to be specific to Down syndrome, but they also are going to work really well with kids that are on the autism spectrum and any child that is neurodivergent. If you're watching this video and you fit into any of those categories, this video is going to be amazing for you. Now, I am a former public and private school teacher and I am currently homeschooling 4 kids. So I have had over 20 plus years in the education world, whether I'm in the classroom, whether 13 years working with homeschoolers in the home education program and evaluation consultations, but I don't want to waste your time. So I'm going to dive right into it. And the first one that I am going to talk about is this right here, Equipping Minds. And we did this year. I subscribed to Dr. Carol Brown, her program this year. And actually when you subscribe online, you get a lot of download videos, samples, you get the full paper curriculum, which actually I have a notebook around here, it's a folder, but basically it's games and it's developing cognitive skills. You know, there's a debate out in the world whether or not cognitive skills can be improved. They can, and there's research proving that there is, but it moves very slow. So it's not like education where things kind of move fast. You know, you can see that improvement from year to year. Cognitive skills go slower. So this is stuff like the working memory, processing speed, spatial awareness. Cognitive skills are going to determine your success in life. So this is going to develop the cognitive skills. And this program was actually piloted. It's the ROSES program. It was piloted on a young lady who had Down syndrome. You're gonna see a ton of games in this, and what we've done, there is a spiral notebook, which I'll pull out in a second. But what we've done is we've actually pulled out a lot of these and stuck them in laminate sheets so we don't destroy them. Here is actually the teacher's guide right here, which has step-by-step instructions on how to use this. I have a video actually on Equipping Minds, and I'll just go ahead and stick a link up there so you can check it out if you want to know more detail. But with my daughter, I'm going to be completely honest and transparent about this. We could only do, I mean, there's so much information in here, which is amazing. Like really, there's a lot of information, but we could only do maybe 5% of the activities in here because she was not ready to move on, which means that we've got, I mean, we can use this pretty much till she's 30s, 40s, 50-year-olds. There are actually elderly people in nursing homes will actually use some of these activities in the game to help keep their brain sharp. But this is just a lifelong experience right here. And I love the fact that they have step-by-step instructions in here, so I don't have to depend on the videos online. The videos are there to help you when you get started, but once you get the hang of it, you kind of roll. Of course, there are games in here that she does not like. But to do this program, you need to spend a significant amount of time every single day to doing this. I found with her that was not, we have to take a break sometimes. We have to stop, which is normal. You know, we do it for a little bit and then we have to stop for a period of a couple weeks and then we can restart it, but only maybe do 15 minutes of it or 1 or 2 games of it. You know, we have to go slower, a lot slower than what others may do. One of her, I'm just gonna share with you her actual favorite game, tic-tac-toe game, where we take turns. Actually, this is not tic-tac-toe. This is actually a memory game that we do where, you know, I put a folder between this and I set up little cubes on here with different colors, and then I let her look, then I put the piece of paper or the folder right here to block it so she can't see, and then she has to, from memory, put them on the squares down here. But her hands down favorite activity are these cards right here, which you can actually buy separate from the ROSES program. So if you're not ready, I mean, it's expensive. So if you just want to get a taste of what Equipping Minds is all about, of course, there's a link in the description box, but you can start with these cards. And these are the Equipping Minds cards just all over the floor. That's okay, I can clean them up. But you can start with these and get the instructions and see if you like them, see if it works. But this is hands down the favorite thing that my daughter does. And we do different varieties. There's hundreds of different ways that you can play with these cards. And so this program is a fun program that we have had success with. Games in general, I'm just gonna share with you right now, games in general has been a huge win for our homeschool year this year. We have so many games and we rotate them throughout the week. I let her pick out her favorite one. We've been ending with a game at the end to kind of get her motivated to get through the stuff that she doesn't like, to get to the stuff that she does want to do. And we say a lot of, first writing, then game. But there are some days where she has off days, and we'll start with the game to get her going in the beginning and then maybe end with the game. But she can learn so much from these games. I think, and I'm just gonna do a video on games, because me just going through all the games that we have would probably be an entire video. I have a ton back here, and I have a whole closet stuffed with games. And now what I'm going to do is just basically go through the core subjects. I will say when it came to science and history, to me, that's all just hands-on and life in general. Science to me is going outside, going to the zoo, enjoying the butterflies, smelling the flowers, planting, gardening, that kind of stuff is going to be science. Learning about our bodies, how they work, learning how physics works. You don't want to drop a cup on your foot because that's going to hurt, especially if it's glass. That's why I have a fractured toe right now. We learn about physics. But history, history is with traveling and geography. She likes to look at maps. That is a fun thing. Google Maps. She loves to look at maps. We do have a globe over there that she can look at. We talk about where she lives on occasion. And there are some fun subscription boxes that you can do. We have not done them this year. Games, there's some geography games that she can play. From her reading that we do, there are a lot of books that are science-based. So if you saw my video last year, you know that I'm still using these from Lakeshore Learning. I'm a huge fan of Lakeshore Learning. We're going these over and over and over again. Repetition is so important for her, and she's getting better and better at these. And I have 5 of them. I have labeled them with the days of the week on the outside of them. So, I'm not really good at keeping up with the days of the week. That was an attempt. Now I just let her pick out which one she wants. I've also learned with her that if she doesn't want to do something, we're just not doing it. It's very difficult to get her to do things. And we do have to, make sure that she feels like she's in control. So instead of saying, hey, do you want to do this? I say, hey, which one do you want to do? If I really want to push the issue, I'll say, we will do this first, and then something that she wants to do, like a game. Other reading things, I do have a complete shelf of books here, as well as her books upstairs. A win-win for us this year when it came to books. Elephant and Piggy. I cannot even stress that enough. Those Elephant and Piggy books are amazing. Another book series that she loves are these right here. And these are the Sally Michael books. There's about 3 of them. And she loves to talk about God. These are great. We have fun with these. But we also, from, former school days, I have a lot of little tiny readers. I have no clue where you could find these, but I do know there are readers everywhere. You can get some from Lakeshore Learning. I know The Good and the Beautiful has a really cool set that people like. But these are the readers that they got. And remember I mentioned a lot of science? So we have a lot of these, and I try to go through a bunch of these days. Once again, repetition is great. At this point, and honestly, I don't care if she just memorizes the book, but eventually she's starting to point to the words and start to make the connection that that word may appear in another book, and we talk about that. So I'll say, oh, remember you read the word food in the other book? Or is, or maybe you wrote the word is in your writing assignments. I just want her to practice reading and feel encouraged with reading, and I try to get her to read several of these a day. Sometimes I have to do the reading. Another book series that I have clung on to is this A Reason for Reading book series. Now I'm gonna be honest with these books. They are very, I guess, I don't even know what denomination they would fall under. There's some things in here that I found theologically I do not agree with. And so those books have gone into the trash. I love this one. This is one of our favorites because as you go through it, it says, you know, I can draw a flower, God made the flowers. And I love creating that foundation of God making everything and God having control over everything. So this was a great one. Another one that she absolutely loves. Of course, I can't find it right now. Nope, I just did. It's called Help Me. And this is one of those where we know that God heals, Jesus heals, and she reads this one literally like all the time. This is her favorite. She does voices. She does voices with it. Help me. Help me. Help me. It's like a thing, okay? But she can, because of this book, we know the word help. And we've been able to duplicate that word several times in other books, make the connection that this word help looks like this and it can be independent of this book. Just a variety of books, but then also you have your core books that you do over and over and over again. You know, a lot of rotation, a lot of repetition, just constant. And the other thing too that I do with her is we have like this is books. I'm gonna have to get a bigger one of these because this is just getting full. But what I have done is I just stick them in here and I keep them on the shelf. So if there's downtime for her, which there is, I'm homeschooling 4 kids, she can pull this out, and she does. And she plays with it and reads them on her own. I feel like when she has control over her learning and her education, she really does excel. And so a lot of me modeling things to her, because there are certain situations, and I've talked to lots of parents during consultations and evaluations and just one-on-one in general, like around, right? And we've talked about how, you know, we'll sit down with them and they don't want to engage and they fight with engagement. What do? Do we just give up? Do we quit? No, we're going to finish reading the book and we're going to model how to do it. They are going to fight because they feel like they're out of control. They're not making this choice to sit with you though. They are making a choice to sit down by themselves when they want to, and then remember those times that you modeled it to them. They're going to do it themselves on their terms, and they're in charge because they're now in charge of their learning, and that's a good thing. So we want to make sure we're modeling good reading habits, reading in front of them, reading to them, because they pick up on those things. And it same is true if you hold something up and you point to the letters, you know, people who help. Look, there's the help word again, just like our other book, help. See, they match, and you model that for them. They start making those connections even if they don't seem engaged in the moments. So don't be discouraged when that happens, because I'm gonna tell you what, it happens a lot. I will say, some people really like Bob books, okay? It didn't work for us. There's a couple reasons Bob books don't work for us. One is the pictures are quite boring, and I think she just did not like. Now some people really like it because it's simple. It's black lines, not much color. It doesn't overwhelm their brain. It doesn't give them too much stimulation. So some kids it works really good. For her, she didn't like it. It was boring to her. She would say, I'm bored. The other thing that didn't work for us with Bob books is that is a phonics type learning. Now I'm not against phonics. I think with Down syndrome, they do learn best with visual, with learning the actual sight word. That's actually something I read, but also something I'm now starting to see is learning the whole word in context, actually, if you can get it in context. But the phonics is there, but it's not something that we really focus on. And Bob Books is a lot of phonics teaching. Now, what we do for phonics is this thing called Alpha Blocks. It's on TV, and actually I have this activity book right here. We got a bunch of these kind of activity books for Naomi because she's obsessed with alpha blocks and number blocks, and we actually, and they're not in here because she probably has them in the other room or she's sleeping with them right now. I'm just gonna put a link. Maybe I'll find a picture and stick it, you know, somewhere over here. She spells words with it and she thinks that they're alpha blocks. So she plays with them like they're alpha blocks, like a toy. She also does these worksheets. Alpha blocks is a win-win. If you could find something that they enjoy and then find ways to teach with those things that they enjoy, that's a win-win. If they like cars, do cars. If they like certain Disney movies or Star Wars, she fell in love with number blocks and alpha blocks, which, you know, That's awesome because it's so academic. Yeah, that's what we use. I'll get to number box later because that, I'm just gonna, well, I'll tell you right now, that is our math curriculum. I did try a spectrum. I'm just gonna jump to math right now. We did do a spectrum book, you know, those spectrum books, and it's not with me right now because I like burned that thing. It was too advanced for her. If I could tell you one thing that I've learned through this whole process of homeschooling my daughter that has Down syndrome is that I cannot use material that was created for a child that does not have a learning disability. Even if I go to the preschool level, I literally, well, yeah, I can. There's some that you can with, if you look for the right things. For example, with the writing, we need to have a large space for the writing. I'm gonna get into writing later. If it's small, can't use it. I could not use the spectrum curriculum at all. It was too advanced for her. It was too clumsy because you have to cut things out, and there's manipulatives that were cut out, and it was more of a headache. I like burned that book. And it's not offense to Spectrum. They're a great company. It's just, you know, it wasn't working for us. It wasn't made for her. So we didn't use Spectrum. You know, I found that she was drawn towards number blocks, which amazing TV show. I have a video that talk about her number block sets. This is her number blocks at this point, okay? It's in one big giant container that is actually breaking. I need to get a new one. But they come with these activity cards, which we've been through all of them. It comes with a set of instructions, which we've done all the games and activities, and they all coordinate with the TV shows. You can go on YouTube and you can look up number blocks level 1, and you can watch all the videos that connect with level 1, which is beginning math. And these all create little creatures. So like she takes them apart and puts them together. So not only are we counting with math and doing math, but she's also doing fine motor skills too. This is 1. Okay, did you see 1? I'm 1. But she'll sit there and she'll say, "Mommy, please make," and then she'll give me a number. She'll also have them talk to each other. Like she'll play with them like figurines, and she looks like she has taken all of these apart, so I don't have any other samples to share with you. With her, like this is taking care of all the math, so much so that I'm just really focusing on getting her to learn how to read, but also work with some of the behavioral stuff and the gaming and the cognitive stuff. You know, math, she likes it, and this is math. Literally, math. Now going back to the language arts area, I also use these things. These are the flashcards that she uses. We have to keep things in context for them when we're teaching whole words. Some kids do really well with flashcards. That's great. But in context is even better. This is actually created by Sarah K. Major. I believe they're called Snap Cards. I'll put a link in the description box below. It's from childfirst.com. So this is Storm. I don't mind if she reads them from here because the picture is giving her context and she's getting an image in her head of the whole word. Yes, she's learning her phonics through alpha blocks. She is. And some of the other stuff I'm going to show you as well. But on the back of these cards, they give you this. So if you want to test to see if she knows how to flash them, you can do that. But they also give you a movement and a sentence, and you discuss it. So it's adding context to the image of the word. I do have them organized in baggies with different, she's really good at these or she's not good at these. And I rotate through them, or I'll stick with one bag for the week, depending upon what I want to work at and where she is. We'll have a week that's like very medical heavy. We're like at the doctor's office a lot. And so we want to go a little bit lighter, and maybe we'll focus on one packet of these cards for that week, and we'll bring it with us and we'll do some gaming and just keep it really simple. But other weeks, you know, we get really big into reading and phonics and honing in on certain, you know, areas like targets. We're targeting these words, these 5 words this week. So it changes from week to week depending upon her needs, her development, and her environment, what's going on around her. And so you just have to be sensitive to that. Now, I have talked about how I did So Happy to Learn And we did that program for a year, and I took a break from it. It's a great program. I'm not gonna lie. I do have a video that says, you know, why I quit using So Happy to Learn. Not because it's a bad program. It's not. It's a really good program. But she was just like not having it. She didn't like the pictures. I don't know what she didn't like, but she didn't like it. So, but I do have a box down here of all the leftover So Happy to Learn books. And she does pull it out, and she does actually start to read through them. And I'm like, okay, we'll do this today. And like I said, I mean, literally a whole box of So Happy to Learn stuff. So it's here for her. I also have my worksheets. You can find those online. I don't have any here with me right now because we are taking a break from them because we just got done with a workbook that I'm going to show you. Now, So Happy to Learn and also my worksheets are based after program. It's actually a book on how to teach your kids with Down syndrome. I'll put a link in the description box below. And it incorporates both the reading, comprehension, and writing and speaking. Basically, you read, you circle each word, you write the words, you answer, open into questions. You will actually close into questions like yes or no questions. You know, there's a lot of matching that you can create. So I love the method. And it's fun, and I have videos on that. I'll put links, all the fun stuff. Now, what didn't work, going back to this idea of don't use stuff that was made for kids that don't have learning disabilities. There were two curriculum, and they're great. First of all, they are great. So the first one is the Getting Ready workbook, and this is actually Happy Cheetah. And Happy Cheetah is known for helping kids that are struggling with reading. And that's why I got it. But the problem with this, for her specifically, is that there's too much going on this page when it comes to writing. She looks at the amount of writing that she has to do on this page and she just shuts down. Not to mention there's 1, 2, 3, and they're so incredibly small for her. She needs big letters because her fine motor skills are very, very weak. And right now we just want to get the formation of the letters down and how to move the pencil in the direction. Like E's are really hard. Sometimes she goes backwards with writing the E's. Sometimes she just draws an A when she's trying to, or a squiggly line. We're really, really trying to work on that. You can see that we kind of worked on it in the beginning, and you can see it was kind of a struggle to get her to do it, and she would just get frustrated. So we had to put this aside. We may pull it out. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest, even though this is the pre-K prep with the writing, and it's writing, we may not use this until she's in middle school, to be completely honest. And I'm not worried about that. One of our goals this year, though, is I do want her to start writing her letters independent of tracing, just by me saying, hey, write the letter H, okay? And then her write the letter. Another one that didn't work for her was from Generations, which, if you know me, I love Generations. And this book is great. Like, don't get me wrong, this book is great. And I love this book. I love what they did with this book. I love the repetition. This book actually did work in the beginning, but we had to stop. The lines aren't really that bad. She just has one line. It's kind of small, but it was just one line to practice her A's, and it went through the alphabet, and then we had some activities on the back, and these activities had the same, it was a plug and play. So the activities would be exactly the same. They would alternate them through the letters with different letters. Does that make sense? There's coloring pages, and there was some cut and paste. So as you can see, like just that single line of writing her letter, practicing it. It was, like I said, a little small. And then eventually, once you got past all the letters, it did it again, but a little bit differently. They would add, you know, circle all the D's that you see. That was hard for her to circle the D's. That one I would model for her. And a lot of this turned into modeling when we got into this, to the point where, you know, we had to come to a stop when we got to consonant blends and vowel blends. We had to just stop there. We were done. And that's going to go on hold until she gets a little bit older. But I do love this program. It's just, this is an example. It's level K. This is an example of doing something that was not meant. It wasn't specifically written for children that have disabilities. There was one book, though, that I really, really liked, and I just bought this one randomly off a shelf somewhere. And it's this one right here. Preschool Sight Words. This word book worked so good. So you would get a word. Do you see how big that writing is right there? And so what we have started doing is she traces it, but we're trying to get her to start writing the letters independent of me. Now, I will be honest, this was hand over hand. I'm really trying to get that E down. That E seems to be very difficult for her. Another example, so here's the word, you know, if. And what I like too is that it has a context. Wear a hat if you are cold. And then they put a picture right here. She's got the big if, she writes if. And then the second page, there will be some kind of activity connected to if. And it actually looks like we didn't do this one. But it was just 2 pages of one word. And then there was a review of the words, and she would write them, and it did get harder as we went along, because now, you know, they start to look like this. She didn't do this page. But then, you know, something like this. And I honestly, with this book, I might just buy this book over again. Now, she likes colors too, by the way. So colors don't overstimulate her. Some kids, they do. If you are looking, just to throw some things out there. If you are looking for a book that is very black and white, plain, rod and staff, same with handwriting without tears, and you can also make your own. I think I'm gonna make some of these instead of maybe instead of buying a book, I'm gonna try to mimic this for her and put it out there for you guys to go on my website and find and purchase or download. To me, that was like one of the best things, is having her write a word with the letters that she knows in context. All honesty, like, I spend all this money on all these different things, and you know, this ends up being $13 and it's one of my favorites. Isn't that how that goes? Like, every single time, right? The next thing I want to talk about is this program called specialreads.com, and this is something that actually, in an evaluation that I did, the parent used this. The way they showed it to me is they were like, wow, this is such an amazing program. And we actually, I'll be honest, we just started this program to try it out, based on the sandwich method. And basically, you get these flashcards and you pick 5 of them and you do like a quick flash, and you say the words and they don't say the words. It's really fast. So it's like you hold them up, C, big, jump, A, red, and you review it like 3 times. And then after you do it, you read a story, and then you do the cards again. And this is the method that it uses to teach kids, and she's specific to Down syndrome. And what I have seen so far, and I could come back like 6 months from now and be like, oh, this is amazing. But what I have seen so far is that the flashing in general really overstimulates her, and she just shuts down. I have found with her that it's just better to slow down and read the words and talk through things. We'll read through one story in here, no problem, but as soon as these cards comes out, it just like shuts down. So I do have this program, and I'll probably let you know later. We just started it. It's fun because, when you homeschool, you can start things in the middle of the year and it doesn't matter. But I think that pretty much goes through everything that we do with her. Of course, I always do a lot of hands-on stuff. So like, for example, today, I'll just share with you. Yeah, that was easy, right? This is from Learning Without Tears and Wiki Sticks. I did this. Usually you do Play-Doh with these, but we just did it with Wiki Sticks today. I love Wiki Sticks. There is definitely playlists that you guys can check out. I'm going to put some videos at the end of this that go over some of the activities, and be subscribed. Make sure you subscribe because I am going to do the gaming video. Actually, I might do it as soon as I turn this one off. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.